about me either.
This is tense.
So I think the first round I was just trying to see what he's like.
Good job by Scott Reilly there. Take your time.
I felt good in the opening 3 rounds.
Many would say that Scott was ahead.
It's starting to show fatigue. Oh, his legs. Joined together for life after this.
Two days after the fight, I was watching some of the clips that people had recorded or whatever, and it was in the round 3. I see my son in the corner, and he can see we're winning the fight. The bell goes in the round 3, and he's clapping. He's like hitting the canvas a little bit, and to have that taken away from him, and me then realising it as I was watching it, it just broke my heart, man. I gotta do this for my son, man.
It would just be continuation of round 5. So you can just imagine if they didn't stop it, what would have happened?
What's going to change the outcome? Entirely, it's going to be my approach.
I would probably say I wouldn't recommend Scott to have the rematch.
Scott Reilly, a man who has served his country.
This is DFC.
Both of those guys know exactly who's going to win. We don't, but they do, because they felt each other.
Did you think the first one was tough?
I get a chance to put this right and serve up another classic fight.
Boys, we are here tonight. Combat Kings, Boxing Corner Casuals, DFC. We got a face-off, K Dankwa, Scott Reilly. Before we get them both in, because they are waiting, guys, it's a bit of a tense one tonight, man. So it's good. 21st of September, man. It's a big fight. Rematch. Let's go. I'm going to get them both in the lobby now. So, guys.
You're going to get in first?
We're going to get both of them in, man, together.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Got to start, man. So, introducing, obviously, Scott Reilly. Welcome, Scott.
Yes, good evening, boys.
Kay Dankwa, welcome. On the 21st of September, these two will be fighting at the Catford Theatre in front of a sold-out crowd, man. Listen, we got a lot to get into. Scott, I'm going to ask you first. How has training been leading up to this second fight, in which feels like maybe a redemption fight for yourself? A lot. Maybe do you feel like you got a lot to prove to yourself going into this second fight?
I wouldn't say a lot to prove to myself. The only thing I want to prove to myself and a little bit to others is that I can box better. That's the only thing I want to prove. In terms of that, I think I gave everything the last fight, and equally did K as well. Fair play to him, and I don't think you can ask for any more from a fighter. Whether you win, lose or draw, I think the only thing that a team or a corner or a boxer can ask from himself is that he leaves nothing in there, and I left nothing in there that night. So I can sleep with myself on that note. I just want to box better because I know I can.
Scott, before I go over to K Dankwa, amateur for 10 years, you knocked out a DFC GOAT in Pat Hill on another show, and this is how they come across yourself. Obviously, you was meant to fight one take for the DFC 4 title, which was relinquished, and then obviously K fighting for the vacant at the time, which is the first fight. 10 years of military experience as well. You've been through a lot in your life, obviously. There's a lot there for you to unpack. I'm going to go over to K Dankwa quickly. K, currently obviously going in at the advantage with the win. How are you feeling, obviously, going into this second fight? Do you feel like anything's changed for you? Shane and Greedy, I'll let you ask in a minute as well. But how do you feel that, how's your training been leading up to the second fight?
Like, what do you mean by how do I feel?
How do you feel going into this second fight? Do you feel any different about this second fight as opposed to the first? Have you changed anything in training? Are you more nervous for this second fight? Do you think it's more risky?
Just another day, mate.
Another day at the office.
Every day is another day, man. Nothing, man. Just another day.
Let me jump in there. Yeah? So, like, psychologically, and this is a question to both of you, like, what is the psychology like knowing that it's a rematch? Because obviously, you don't have to show the respect, or you don't have to say you're going to respect each other. But I don't know if you do or not. But you've been in there for solid rounds, and obviously, anyone that goes in there has respect for other fighters. So, what's the psychology like going into the second fight? Like, do you feel like you have to have a different mindset?
K-Dan, first.
What do you mean different mindset? The mindset is always the same. Go in there and just do what you do best. That's it. It never changes.
But in terms of the approach, obviously you shared the ring with each other already. So in terms of when you go back in there now, like this is the second run at it. Obviously you came out as the victor in the first one. Do you think that like maybe not your mindset then? How do you think your opponent feels going into the fight?
I mean, still the same. I mean, I don't know how you think I came in as that, but that's your perspective. I mean, to me, it's always the same, man. Never changes, man. It's always the same. Although, I mean, Scott is a great guy. You know, he's got a lot of heart. I give him that. You know, but in terms of boxing, it's a whole different ballgame.
Okay. Scott.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, for the approach, I just need to box better than what I did before. During the last fight, I started boxing. At the start, I was boxing well, was nice and tight. I was getting behind my jab a lot. And then I got a little bit emotionally involved in the fight. There was a lot of pressure to deliver. Not that I felt that, like, all on me, but subconsciously there was pressure to deliver, being a main event. There was a lot of expectation coming on the knockout win of one of the greatest guys to ever fight on DFC in Pat Hill. Shout out to Pat Hill while we're here as well, by the way, legend.
DFC
and yeah, I just felt a lot of pressure to deliver. And I got caught up in the emotion. There was a lot of people there, my kids there, my wife there, family there, people that never seen me fight before. At one point, I thought I clipped him a little bit and he was on the back foot, so I was sticking it on him a little bit, and it just got a bit messy. But it was the performance of a novice fighter, an under 10 bout novice fighter. You know, let
me ask you a question, Scott. Just quick, while K Dunk is sorting out obviously the camera and stuff.
Yeah,
I got to give him a little intro as well. Obviously, coming in 7-1 as an amateur before fighting on DFC. A little bit about K Danko as well. He's born in Ghana, raised in the Netherlands. He wants to go pro next year. Listen, look, he comes with a lot of experience as well himself. You'll know being in the ring with him in the first fight. But did you really feel that there was that much difference between you and K Dankwa in that first fight?
No.
As maybe people are putting it?
No. So I've only got 2 years amateur boxing experience before this. And that was back in 2008, 2009, when I boxed at Nemesis ABC in Erie. I had 4 amateur bouts and that was it. And I went away to the army for 10 years, played football, whatever. I was always better at football. And it's only recently I thought, let me get back into the boxing, and I want to pick myself up a little bit, get back into my fitness, X, Y, Z. So going into this fight, it was no different than the fight I had before with Pat. Someone who's more experienced, someone who's dangerous. But I don't feel no pressure. I'm used to swimming with the sharks, and we're swimming them all day long. Don't bother me. But in terms of was there a massive gap? In my opinion, no. I was winning the fight. I made some novice mistakes, and you can't make a mistake against someone like Kay because he will punish you. Because it does bang hard. Not as hard as I thought it would be compared to what it was building up to be. I chewed 2 of his best right hands. Chewed them, spat them out, rolled the next shot, held. And then the ref gave me 2 8 counts, didn't he? That's up to him. I'm not going to dispute that. He's there to do a job for safety. But I chewed them big right hands. No problem. And
okay. I
want to say one more thing before we carry on. I carry power as well. Bad day at the office for me. I carry power as well. So if I land on Kay, we'll see how he deals with it. I know I can deal with his power. We'll see if I land on him, we'll see how he deals with mine.
Did you feel
And
that
I've got a
power
lot
in
of
the first?
respect for him as well, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
But
Did you
this
feel that
is
power? Okay. Did you feel that
Say
power in
again.
the first fight?
Did I feel that power?
Mm.
I mean, just another day, mate. Ain't nothing that I ain't felt.
K, you seem so relaxed, my brother, and I like your approach. I like you, calm, collected type of guy. But tell me, there's something that you must respect in Scott when you stepped in that ring. You have to. You're about to step in there. It was a close fight. Give us some insight of what you thought he did do well, or what you think he should do better in the second fight.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you in terms of what he should do well, but it's just like, like I said, he's got heart. That I'll give him that. But when it comes to actually boxing, it's a whole different ball game.
Do you see yourself as being better than Scott in every facet?
In terms of boxing?
Yeah, boxing wise.
Oh, it's not even a competition.
Conditioning, strength, having a chin, being able to withstand the onslaught. You think you are just genuinely better overall?
Yeah, but that's not boxing. I'm talking about using the brain up there. Boxing, hit, don't get hit, setting traps. That's not even a competition.
Scott, to return to you, the same question he's talking about on the boxing side, is it just boxing? But again, I do believe you have to have strength, conditioning. There's loads of things that come with boxing. Do you believe you have some of these attributes that can overcome on the 21st?
Not let me cut you off. I'll let Scott continue. But Scott is in terrific shape. He's fit. Like, I'll give him that any day. But it's like, the more shots you take, it's gonna take a toll on you. And the name of the game is hit and don't get hit. And if you're actually talking about boxing, it's like your fitness can carry you so far, but when you're in there with a guy that's like outthinking you, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying on that one. And before we start getting into this, because I can see the way it does go, when you share the ring with someone like Kay and you had the fight that we had, you've got nothing but love and respect for the guy. But obviously between now and until that final bell rings next week, we are enemies that both want the same thing in terms of sporting enemies. You know what I mean? After the bell goes, and with this man's journey moving forward, whatever he wants to do next year, I will fully support this guy 100%. But as I say, until the bell goes next week, it's straight business. He's got something that I want, and obviously he wants to keep it. And next week, the best man's going to win the fight. But I see what he's getting at in terms of the boxing, hit and don't get hit. And as I alluded to earlier, I made some mistakes in the last fight that I'm looking to eradicate.
I need to ask you a question, K Danko, yeah? So prior to obviously you wanted 3-minute rounds for this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I do. I don't do 2. that's like,
And
I got to figure it out. Like when
that's what I want to know. I want to know the bottom of like what happened there, because this isn't 3-minute rounds. You wanted 3-minute rounds. Scott, if I could get a bit of insight on your side, why that was.
What's that? When I was offered 3-minute rounds?
Yes.
I'm 35 years old with 2 kids, man, and I run my own business. So the fact that he probably does get to put a little bit more time and effort into it, I'll hold my hands up and hold that one. At the same time, I believe it suits his style as well. He's similar to Wilder. He's only got to be good for 2 or 3 seconds in each round to affect you. So the more time you've got, this ain't just like a fitnessy thing. The more time he's got in there, the more it will suit him. But we can't go start talking down the fitness route, because I've been there, I've done it, I've got the T-shirt. And if you do your homework on me, you know what I'm about. When I was a young man, I was one of the front runners, man. So don't worry about
that. K-Dan, do you feel after his performance, he actually deserves a second fight in which obviously got pronounced by DFC? Do you think
in the 5th round? Yeah.
Yeah, do you actually feel like he deserves it? I know Scott feels like he deserves it. He definitely put on a hell of a show. It was one of the fights of the night, from what everyone was saying and from what everyone watched.
I had it down as fight of the night, to be honest.
There you go. But
yeah,
I
was there. Yeah.
Do you feel, K-Dan, that he deserves that rematch?
I mean, who am I to think what he deserves and what he doesn't? It's life. It's what you can go out there and grab. So to me, it doesn't really bother me. But like I said, if we are doing like the whole 90 seconds, no, not 90 seconds, I mean the whole 3 minutes, you know, I got 60 seconds each minute, you know, I got time to think, just think. Oh, it wouldn't be a competition, man. And not even a disrespectful way, it wouldn't be. Because like, if you look at it like you're up the first 3 rounds, what's that? That's like 6 minutes. And that's like 2 rounds. And if you look at boxing at the highest level, like what's the first 2 rounds? That don't even count. The first 4 don't even count. So it would have been just me picking them apart all the way around. But
is that your mind? Is that overall? Sorry to cut you, but that's because your mindset is where you're looking to go future in boxing, Kaydan. Is that because?
Absolutely. Because even after the fight, if you ask Scott, I told him like whenever he wants, he can come down in the gym and then we'll be willing to take him and we'll just work. Like, you know, in terms of like boxing, you know, like I do 3 minutes all day long. Like I do 3 minutes all day long, 6 rounds, 8 rounds. You know, I don't even take break. I don't drink water, nothing. Just going in. So me being in there scrapping for 2 minutes, that's like not really thinking. You're just throwing hands, really. So
Where does
you being up the first 3 or 4 don't even matter, because all it takes is just one shot and just one mistake. How disciplined can you stay?
Where does this? Yeah, go on.
You know,
let me ask you a question, Kaydan. Yeah, where if on the night 21st of September, in your mind, where does it leave you if you were potentially to lose against Scott Reilly? Where does that? Where are your thoughts? You've got aspirations to go pro, but those thoughts there, where it was a tough fight, from my point of view.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It is tough for you because you're not in there. You don't see what's happening. You only see from the outside. I'm in there. To me, it was never tough. It's just a matter of time. So what? We box 6 minutes and you think you win? Mate, you can win the first 4 rounds in 3 minutes. And what's 4 times 3? What's that? 12 minutes. And we still got plenty of rounds to go. I will pick you apart all night long, whatever I want to do. Then what?
Scott?
Listen, that's it. That's his prerogative to have that attitude towards the fight. I got asked the question: how was the fight going? I felt I was winning the fight after the first 3 rounds. I made some mistakes and he opened me up. But what happens if I don't start making the mistakes? How's he going to open me up? I don't think he can, and I don't think he will, and I don't think he'll want it on the inside of me either. And come next week, when we get to the later rounds and we start getting up close and personal, he start running like he did the first 3 rounds of the last fight, start backing off, and I barely touched him. I clipped him with one little left hand, a little one, and he started backing up on the run. We get up nice and close next week, and we'll see who wants it on the inside. Because he throws them shots miles too wide. When I get up nice and close to him, and we'll see what's happening then. We'll change the fight up. We'll have a right close little fucking tear up, and it'll be good. It'll be good for the fans. It'll be good for Kay. It'll be good for me. And we'll see what's what. We'll see who's who. I'm not bothered either way, man. The pressure's on him to win this fight. There always has been. There's no pressure on me.
That makes sense. What Scott? That's a perfect point, Kaydan. You're gonna have to respond to that. It's a bit of the last question, like what Paolo said. That pressure is on you. Do you feel that pressure? You got to be honest with yourself. You don't have to be honest with us, but as a man, you got to look at yourself in that mirror. So I would love you to be honest with us, but do you actually feel that pressure?
Do you think I haven't been honest with you all night?
No, I'm just saying it's a different questions.
No, question, right?
Different questions require different answers.
Night?
No, I don't think you are. I think you've been very genuine. I do. No, I'm just asking still, do you feel like in that perspective?
All right.
I'll answer this, right? Let me put it this way, yeah. I got back into boxing last year because I wanted to pick myself up out of a place I didn't want to be in. Yeah, I wanted to get back into my fitness, have a little bit more self-respect after a roughish year or so, hanging around the wrong people and whatever. I took on the GOAT, Pat Hill. Yeah, got told he had 3 fights. Turned out he had 9 plus an MMA background. I could have pulled out that fight. I said, no, we'll have it with him. Let's go swimming. Next fight, was meant to fight one take. He was going to do his thing. Flips rings me and said, we've got this Dutch guy, Kay. He's had 8, 9 fights, whatever. I said, let me have a little look at him. We'll go swimming again. I don't mind. So for him to sit there and say, could do this, do that, do the other, wants to go pro, you better make sure you make a statement next week, because I shouldn't, according to your words, be in that ring with you. So you better make sure that you make a statement. If you don't, where do you go from here? If I lose the fight, I've still won, because my children are getting a better dad. My wife is getting a better man in her life as supporting her with the kids. Her family are seeing the man that they haven't seen for a number of years, a much better guy than I was. I've already won. This is just a cherry on top. The pressure's on this guy, man. There's no pressure on me. I'll come to the ring and we'll swim. And we'll see who sinks, man. I don't mind.
Let me ask you a question. We move on a little bit quickly, and we got going for about 10, 15 more minutes. Listen, Catford Theatre, 21st of September, is sold, it's packed out. Look, I want to ask you a lot of questions, because I have to mention this in every live, and it is a really important initiative. But to mention that this event is about knives down, gloves up. It's a big issue that we're seeing within our communities as well, and DFC putting on a great event. You both being a part of this and this event, how does it feel to sort of go around again, Kay, and just give the fans a fight that they want to see? Training aside, what you've done leading up to this fight, how are you feeling going into the DFC double or nothing card? And what impact do you think that this sort of makes on the community as well?
I don't know. When you ask me how do I feel, I don't know how to answer you that, really, because I don't even feel nothing, really. So I don't know what to tell you about that. But, you know, I just do me.
Scott?
Well, I grew up in Catford, innit? I spent the first 16 years of my life in Catford. I used to ride my bike from Bellingham up to Q-Sticks, snooker club just below Skyline Gym when I was 14, 15. I've seen a lot of incidents, know about a lot of incidents. So I'm blessed to be a part of the campaign and supporting the motto of knives down, gloves up. I've spoke to Flips the other day about some initiatives that I think we can take to support that message. Knife crime's rife, innit? They don't care about people like me and you. When I say they, I mean the governments. They don't. So the fact that this sort of movement with DFC is being pushed, young men and women are getting a chance to get involved in boxing and X, Y, Z and push themselves into a better life. What a fantastic thing to be part of, you know? And the more we work together and build together, the more that the communities become stronger. And, you know, we can just keep sending that message out. So I'm just proud to be part of it in that sense.
Important message. It's an important message, boys. And I need to ask you as well, Scott, in terms of this fight now, fast forward to 21st, forget about the first fight. How do you see this going on the night? In your head, how does this scenario play out? And I'll ask Kay Danko the same question in a minute. How does this play out for you?
Last fight, I walked into the traps. This fight for me, there's going to be no gaps. I'm not walking into nothing. You know, I'm going to box the fight that I want to fight. I'm going to box to win. I'm not going to box to entertain. I'm not going to box because I feel like I've got to live up to the hype of being the guy that knocked out Pat. There's no pressure on me now. I've won a big fight. I've lost a big fight. I can just enjoy myself. And the aim of this is to box. And if I box as good as I know I can, the belt goes back to Hampshire.
Okay, Dankwa, on the night, how's this fight going for you? Forget about what happened in the first fight. 21st of September, you're in the ring. How do you see this fight going and how do you want it to play out? Or how do you think it's going to play out?
Like I said in the first one, same. Nothing really changes.
There's not, so there's nothing else that you're worried about that he does? Nothing, same again for the second fight?
Yeah, same. Like I said, the first time we spoke, and like that's just me being totally honest with you. Like it's just the same. Like,
do you think? Really... Okay, Scott, let me ask you a question. Does it worry you at all that he's this relaxed?
No, not at all, man. Not at all. I think that's Kay's personality. Like I say, he's a nice fella and that, and he carries his normal personality over to boxing. He's a man on the mission. He's got that in his mind if he wants to be pro, and he's going about it the right way, really. I'm not looking left, I'm not looking right. I'm going and I ain't stopping. But it's up to me to stop him.
Yeah.
Hey, can I ask you just quickly? Obviously, you're talking about turning over and going pro. How do you see the route that you're taking as opposed to the traditional route of long amateur career and then ticking over to pro? Like, how do you think it benefits you getting into these type of scraps and you know, not going necessarily the traditional amateur route?
I mean, it's life. Everyone's gonna operate what they think is best for them logically, right? We're humans, right? We operate what we think is best for our own interest logically. So wherever works for you, wherever you think you got on you that works, each their own. Like, I don't follow the crowd. I just do me. You know, I'm just in my zone. I do me. I focus on me. I'm worried about what I can do best. I'm not worried about what, you know, what needs to be done or what not. Don't bother me. At the end of the day,
The reason I ask is because I think there's a lot more people taking the route that maybe you are trying to take in terms of not the traditional amateur route and then ticking over to pro. And obviously we've seen guys do that quite well lately. So like, this fight is a big fight for you. Obviously, if you get through this one, do you intend on having any more fights at this level before taking over, or is this? Do you see the last?
I mean, I don't know. What makes you think this is big for me?
Well, obviously, it's for the belt. It's a fight that you've taken. I'm assuming a man like yourself would only take fights that you consider are big fights.
And don't you
really.
Fights that interest
you?
So
you don't feel like every fight that you get a dub in, a win. You don't feel like the next fight's bigger and bigger for you as just naturally. Don't you feel like in life that you evolved, so just through experience and stuff, that everything will become much bigger as you kind of get further on in life?
I mean, you do evolve and you do learn. That's what we're meant to do in life. But in terms of bigger, what do you use the sense of like it being bigger? Nothing really changes.
Take Floyd Mayweather and just Pacquiao. That was his biggest fight at the latest stage of his career. That was no doubt the biggest fight of Floyd and Pacquiao's career. Everyone was waiting for it. So that means that I'm not saying that's Floyd and Pacquiao. I'm just saying that each fight as you go in your career becomes much more of a statement fight, if you want to say.
100%, I get what you're trying to say, but that's big for him in terms of like if he's looking in terms of the numbers and money.
Yeah.
But that's not everyone's perception of life as what's big and what's not. Me waking up every morning, that's big enough for me already, and that's it. That's all I need. So me getting there, doing the things that I love, that's nothing, man. That's literally nothing.
Listen, but in terms of your journey to professional, do you see yourself as this being the last one at this level?
That's the answer for another day. You know, I'm a man of few words. I already said enough.
No, fair enough.
Okay, cool. Listen, I'm gonna move on. Last bit. Scott, K Dankwa, 21st of September. You are fighting at the Catford Theatre. It's gonna be a tear up. Both of you are there. You've both got something to prove. If it's not to yourselves, but for the fans watching, they want to see a big fight. Scott,
yes.
Final message.
But like, it's like, do you prove to yourself that you walk every day?
Some people do.
That's okay. That's some people, not me. It's just normal.
Scott,
literally, it's just normal.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question. But okay, this is the last question. I'm going to ask both of you. Your final message for K Dankwa, and K Dankwa, your final message for Scott. I'll let you go first, Scott. This is the last time you're probably going to speak to each other before the 21st of September. So, Scott, what's your final message going into this before the fight?
It was a blessing sharing the ring with you before, as you know. And next week we'll go to war again. Say you want to put me out inside 3 rounds. Just don't get caught on your way in, because we already know how that one ends, man. We've seen it before and we'll see it again. Don't get caught on your way in. I see it at the theatre.
Okay.
Better dreams, baby.
Like I said, you know, I'm a man of few words. I already said enough, and that's okay.
Cool. Listen, boys, Greeny, go on, Bragg.
I was just going to say, K-Dan, Scott, really nice to meet you. You seem like both great, genuinely nice guys. I know Greeny will say the same. I can't wait to see you lot fight on the 21st of September. Just after this interview, like, my hands are sweating. I'm not even lying. Like, for no reason. Like, it was intense. Like, I feel like, I'm not even lying to you lot. Yeah, I really want to see you lot fight on the 21st. I can't wait to be down there. I will be down there. Combat Kings will, along with boxing, Corner Casuals. I want to shout out again to DFC. This whole platform flips. Don Strapsy, everything is going to be absolutely electric. That's just coming from my mouth itself.
Cool. Listen, boys, 21st of September, the Catford Theatre. Scott Reilly, K Dankwa, they go at it. Guys, you can still go and get your tickets. Contact K Dankwa, contact Scott Reilly. You can go on the DFC website. For those that are watching, make sure you tune in. We'll see you both on the 21st of September. Guys, thank you for joining tonight. And I wish you all the best I wish you all the best of luck with the rest of your camps. Good luck.
Thank you, boys. It's been a pleasure. Have a good weekend.
Cheers, man.